Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one was sent in by Sarmatian, and he's playing as Chaos, and he's against the Empire. And yeah, Sartorial again. Yeah, we're seeing him a lot lately. But I really like this. I like this a lot. He's got Plague of Rust, and he has Searing Doom. So yeah, none of that final transmutation nonsense. No, Searing Doom and Plague of Rust. And I love these two spells. I think they're a really nice complement for him. I think they work really well, especially with this army. Because as we look, he has one unit of Chaos Chariots, really nice for just running through a bunch of infantry and basically having something for Griffites to chase. They're just great for that. Just cavalry has to chase them around. It frees up a lot of space for the rest of your units, and if they aren't chased around, they'll just kill the entire front line, and then the cavalry is stuck fighting all of this noise. And here you can see Chaos Marauders are great weapons, just all of them. Because the thing is, great swords are pretty popular, because they're really good at armor piercing and anti-infantry, so why waste your money on armor? Why bother? Nope, just bring a load of armor piercing to counter them. And that's the way to do it, just go real cheap. And that is a really nice way to do it. Just go super cheap, and you don't have to worry about things like Chaos Warriors being outmatched by greatswords. Works really nicely. Also, here you can see Word Spawn. I love these guys. I think they're just really good. I don't see them half enough. They're really nice. Here you can see they have armor sundering. So, minus 30 armor on everything they're attacking. That puts all the state troops down to, like, 0 armor. And with 160 weapon strength, they're just going to cut straight through them. But that armor piercing will help out other units too, such as these Mirror Guard. Mirror Guard just have amazing stats. They are really sturdy, 58 melee defense, really good missile resist, and 100 armor. They are very hard to kill, but they don't have a lot of armor piercing damage, so sunder the armor with the weird spawn, sunder the armor with Plague of Rust, and they will just go on a killing spree. It's amazing. Love them. Also here you can see Chaos Warhounds with Poison, great for chasing down any skirmishers. Yeah, there's the other unit. Also, Chaos Knights with Lances in the back. Amazing charge bonus. Got to watch out early for artillery, but once they can come in, they're going to do so much work. They are really good with that charge bonus, and the Empire just don't have sturdy units that can hold out against that. Certainly not in terms of their infantry. So these guys, really good for killing infantry very, very quickly. Over here, we've got a couple of throwing axes. So Marauders with throwing axes, great armor piercing. Just fantastic for dealing with the cav. You know, these guys, they won't do very well against things like Pistoliers, but you got the Chaos Warhounds to chase them off, and when anything expensive comes in for the Warhounds, these guys can throw axes at them. It's perfect. It's perfect. Also over here, a couple of Marauder Horsemen. Just standard Marauder Horsemen. Not with the throwing axes, but if they're attacking, if they're throwing axes, well, javelins, as some of the Word Spawn are attacking that's been hit by Plague of Rust, suddenly these guys could be just as effective, but it means you don't have to worry about those spells to complement them if there's something cheap for them to kill, so it's all good. Now his opponent here, you can see he's got the Hammer of the Witches. Really nice to have a really solid, accurate gun line here. So Hammer of the Witches will be really good for any big monsters, but that magic damage means that it's rubbish against Sartorial. Sartorial has great magic and missile resist. Also here, Silver Bullets. Again, magic resistance. It means these are going to be shooting at other targets. But there are the Sterling's Revenge and some Crossbowmen. The Crossbowmen are great for dealing with things like Marauder Horsemen. And here, in the air, Boris Toddbringer. Love Boris. He's great. So with Boris, you don't really have to bring a mage of life. You don't have to bring it. You don't need the healing for your lord like you often do, because he'll regenerate. So that is really nice. And also, he does have some pretty cool abilities here. He's got the White Cloak of Ulrich that will lower melee attack of nearby units, which will keep your front line going for a lot longer. They'll die a lot less if Boris is backing them up, and it means the back line can continue shooting and getting value. There's also an Amber Wizard, great armor piercing, but quite squishy. But if he's just joining Boris Toddbringer to go fight everything, he's going to be hit less because of the lower melee attack. And yeah, anything these two attack is going to die pretty quickly. So really nice. Flock of Doom, just a really good spammable spell, which will help whittle down even expensive units. In the back, roll out of Griffites, they cause terror, and they just shred armoured large things. Perfect. Perfect against Chaos. Here, Halberdiers, charge defense against everything. Nice to have that on the flank, help hold the line. Great swords. Typical pick, they will just cut through any infantry, and Flagellants and Sigmar Suns having something unbreakable in the middle, it means this line is going to hold out very, very well and let the back line do a lot of work. So, speeding things up. See, Flock of Doom has been used already, overcast, but it was a miscast, which is a bit of a shame, because now, because it was just against quite low model count units, such as cavalry, it's actually done more damage to the Amber Wizard. Over here, though, piercing bolts, nope, Searing Doom, that's the one. I always get those two confused, I always do. Just doing a tremendous amount of work for these Hammer of the Witches. There's a really good shout. I never see that spell being used like that, but he's pretty much shut down the crew already. Another spell or two, and those guys will all be dead. You don't have to worry about destroying the cannons or chasing them off. So that's really nice. These guys are taking a lot of gunfire, but you can see the Altdorf Griffite's being pulled out of position. And now, Plague of Rust, so that armor has gone down to 65, which means these javelins are suddenly going to start doing some damage. And now the front lines are engaging, and you see the Chaos Marauders, they're not going to do particularly well against the Flagellants or the Sigmar Suns, but luckily, the Mirror Guard are going after the Sigmar Suns, and they should win out eventually. Here, Chaos Marauders on the charge, you can see they're actually doing pretty well against these greatswords, certainly for their cost. These greatswords have been taking a ton of damage thanks to the throwing axes, but the crossbowmen are just a brilliant counter to this kind of unit, so not a bad idea bringing the crossbowmen. You rarely see them, you know, it's always handgunners and things, but actually the crossbowmen are a nice cheap way to scare those units off. Another Searing Doom, and the Hammer of the Witches is really suffering. So over here, another Flock of Doom, trying to get rid of these Chaos Marauders, but these Chaos Marauders are a very nice cheap way of doing some damage to the Altdorf Griffites. Sartorial is having to back out of here though, and all this stuff is being held at bay. A lot of gunfire, but Startler's Revenge, you know, that missile resist of Sartorial will ignore a lot of it, and there are a lot of Marauder horsemen, just throwing their javelins in here, and those Altdorf Griffites cannot heal, there is no life mage, and that is one problem with bringing Boris and another caster. You know, you really need that life mage if you want to heal up an expensive unit like the Altdorf Griffites. So here the Hounds and the Chariots are getting the back line, but the Chariots really don't want to be in the same fight as the Altdorf Griffites. They really don't. Another Flock of Doom, and that's actually pretty cost effective when it's, oh actually no, it's Sartorial and 2 units of horsemen, so yeah, it's not really going to kill many, sadly. But anyway, all the front line pretty much broken on this side, but it's softened all of these units up a huge amount. And now the Chaos Knights are coming in. The Chaos Knights are coming in, and over here you can see the Griffites just want to keep getting these hits, you know, on the Lord. They want to take down Sartorial as quickly as possible. And the Chariot is just causing such a problem. You know, the Altdorf Griffites, they need to be back here. They need to shut down the Chaos Chariots, and these guns can deal with everything here so easily, but they have to be over here. So Sarmatian is really lucking out here with the Chaos Chariot, just able to accost these guys. And the Chaos Knights immediately shut down the greatswords. They have shattered, and the Marauder horsemen with throwing axes, they'll just run around the back, have managed to deal with the crossbow, have managed to deal with the Hammer of the Witches. There's only unbreakable units left in this engagement. These greatswords are broken too. And that was mostly down to Marauders. Marauders done a wonderful job. They are such a cost-effective way of dealing with an Empire front line that's trying to go expensive. So, absolutely beautiful. Really beautifully played. Sadly, the Marauder Horsemen are taking some damage from the silver bullets, but he wants to make sure to shatter these Hammer of the Witches by the looks of it. And over here, the Chaos Knights getting a rear charge into the Flagellants. I mean, they don't really need it. The Mirror Guard are doing fine here, but might as well whittle them down. Over on this side, Plague of Rust, huge Plague of Rust on the Amber Wizard, and then suddenly he miscasts, which did even more damage to himself. He's got to be really careful about overcasting Flock of Doom. Just keep using it, just basic. You don't have to worry too much about it. And if you're going to use it on the infantry in the front line. Help your front line out. Don't try and whittle down things like Marauder Horsemen, because they have to get so damaged before a Flock of Doom will actually kill any models, and this is the sort of unit that doesn't need health on any of its models. You know, as long as they're still alive, they can make use of their ammunition. So over here, the Chariot has been shut down, which is a damn shame. And over here, the Marauder Horsemen are getting beaten up by the silver bullets, which is pretty surprising, but they took a lot of damage while heading in there. And Sartorial is super injured. The amount of attacks, you know, Boris has sort of exerted on him. I don't know words. I can't words today, but anyway, these Griffins just diving on him all the time. It's been rough, but it's given Sarmatian the chance just to completely wipe out all of the Empire troops in that front line. Another Searing Doom doing some good work to the Startler's Revenge. Another Flock of Doom on the Mirror Guard, and that is a good idea. Flock of Doom doesn't care about your melee defense or your armor. It will help whittle you down. So once again, Sartorial is charging in here like an absolute lunatic, and Boris is coming in for him. But Weird Spawn lowering the armor of all these guys to next to nothing, and it's letting the Mirror Guard do some really good work. Look at that. With the Plague of Rust, 35 armor on these Altdorf Griffites. That's horrific. It's real bad. Now with the Weird Spawn, with their huge weapon strength, I mean, the Amber Wizard had barely any armor to begin with, so it's going to be taking a huge amount of damage. The Altdorf Griffites is going to be taking a huge amount of damage, and this is all super cost effective. And Sartorial just ran in there as bait for those Griffins, and now they're getting bogged down by units. They're going to sunder his armor, and a load of other units can capitalize. So that is very, very scary stuff. But there are a lot of horsemen sort of left idle that can start pulling in, and also a lot of these Marauders can just start running at random units. They never really have to worry, not while this stuff is bogged down. Some Halberdiers have managed to get back into the fight, but they're going to break pretty damn quickly. So Chaos Marauders getting terrified, but that doesn't really matter, you know. They're just Marauders. It's all good. It's all good. So over here, Cavalry is starting to chase down some of the other units, and Hammer of the Witches didn't actually shatter, though I really don't like the chances of going back online. Oh, they've shattered. Never mind. Yep. Told you I didn't like the chances, guys. So, all units still charging in. The word spawn have actually pulled out a little bit, which is surprising. And Sartorial seems to be running in again. Oh, nope, just lying in wait. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. I don't know why he's being bait, but that's a Plague of Rust and a beautiful sidestep there. Sartorial is so slick. You just can't catch him. You just can't hang on to him. He's a real nuisance like that. So Boris is really struggling, you know? And yet, once again, just a big old sidestep. Just always run to one side, and that dive, it'll always miss. That's a real problem. And with all of this armor sundering, he's regenerating, but he's taking substantial damage here. And now, further armor sundering. He's down to 25 armor. And the Chaos Knights, not great armor piercing, but a great charge bonus. They can get stuck in, helping bogging him down. And Boris is really suffering. He is really suffering. Now, Poison Warhounds, poisoning him, lowering his speed as well. And it's only a matter of time before he calls it quits. There he goes. So yeah, wonderful. Wonderful fight. And yeah, both really interesting builds actually. This is a odd composition in the fact that he doesn't have a single unit of... Oh, actually, Great Swords. Great Swords the only thing he has two of. Everything else is just like... It's all different, but they all had utility. They all had a good use. I think his prioritization was a bit off. I think the Altdorf Griffites could have shut down that chariot super quickly. And yeah, I think he could have used his infantry to better effect to guard the Altdorf Griffites. There are a few places where he just didn't have the width, so he needed to play more defensively, but he threw the Altdorf Griffites way out to try and shut down Sartorial early, and I think that was a risk. That was a big risk. He needed to solidify his line and let the guns get as much value as possible, because, as we saw, the Chaos Knights, they finally turned up, and they barely took a scratch. Barely took a scratch. They just mopped up the rest of the front line that the Chaos Marauders had weakened. And the Chaos Marauders were just a brilliant unit there. They did a fine job. I mean, look at their kills. It's not too bad. But you got to remember, you know, their kills, they broke in that fight. They ended up running away. So to get that many kills, they did a lot more damage than that would suggest to the unit before they gave up. You know, they're not the sort of unit that will kill every time they hit something. They'll hit something a few times and it dies. So, yeah. So they did a lot more damage than the kills would suggest, because they were fighting all fresh units. So they actually did very well. It was very cost effective. And just let the rest of the units really just run wild in the back line, shut everything down. Sartorial was basically playing bait the entire time, and he survived at the end of it. You know, he's so slippery. If he doesn't want to get caught, he's not going to get caught. So the whole time, Salvation seemed to be going, yeah, just catch me, it's fine. You'll take damage. You know, I'm still going to be fine. I'm unbreakable. Don't worry about it. And it worked out beautifully. It worked out beautifully. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.